that play goes wrong, we just start putting everybody on the team.
All right, man, well, Harvey.
Well, we were talking to Mac and the coaches yesterday, and I swear Mac said the word bowl about 50 times. Like, has that become part of the conversation now that you guys are one win away to get there? Is that now part of what you all are talking about on a regular basis?
Yeah, I think it's been a part of it. I think that's just what comes with winning this next game, and that's the most important thing. Beating Wake, we're not worried about Boston College, we're not worried about the state game right now. It's just Wake Forest Saturday night, and so when we do win that game, we'll be bowl eligible. And so it's not about being bowl eligible right now, but it's about beating Wake Forest, and that's what comes with it. So.
Will, when Coach Collins was in here yesterday, he described a moment early in the Virginia game where he said Amari Campbell got up on a table and basically took charge of defense and said, hey, here's what we're going to do. Do you remember that moment, and can you walk us through how that went?
Yeah. Amari, he's a great leader he's a true sophomore. And so he's been a big leader for us at that Mike position. And so that was a moment in the game where they got 3 points pretty early, and we just knew that coming off 4 straight losses that we're a different team than what we were. So he sort of took that moment, and from that moment on, the rest of the game, our mindset sort of shifted. We played a really good game.
So he was on top of a table, Coach.
I don't remember him.
Like,
I don't know if he was on.
He said it was a figure speech.
Yeah, he wasn't on
It's on the
it.
sidelines.
I qualified on it. He said it was a figure speech.
Yeah.
Right, you spoke up.
He did speak up, but we don't have tables around.
I was wondering.
5 weeks ago, was the last time you guys played at home, and the vibe around here was obviously 4 straight losses, Ty Lee, and all kinds of stuff. How is it different now? How discernibly different is it right now than it was then?
Yeah, I would say the vibe's a lot different. There were a lot of things going on, outside distractions. A lot of that was because of our play and how we weren't performing like we wanted to. But I think just since the Virginia and Florida State game, we sort of got back on track to who we were, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And the D-line is playing amazing right now. And that obviously helps the linebackers and the secondary cover. And so we just sort of got back to who we were. Play call wise too, we sort of just went back to, what do we have in fall camp? What do we have right at the beginning of the season that worked really well for us, and went back to that. And so I think sort of that reset, we sort of hit that reset button, and it's been working really well right now.
As a result, a lot of teams, they get to mid-November, they're kind of worn out, season's late, it's kind of grinding. You guys kind of have a sense of freshness about you because the minds are different and the bodies have a chance to heal a little bit later?
Yeah, I think so. I think this year our schedule was a little unique, and where we played 7 straight, and then we've had 2 byes within 4 weeks. So we were sort of front heavy on the schedule. But I think also just the past 2 seasons, we've sort of had the notion where we haven't finished well. And although we didn't start well this year, all that matters right now is finishing. And so I think this team's had a finished mindset the whole year. We spoke throughout that, throughout spring and summer workouts. It's all about finishing. So we've had that mindset, and now that it's here, it's already established.
Coach Collins mentioned that just sort of get you guys back on track. You played high school highlights of you guys. What plays did he pick out for you?
Yeah, that was awesome. When he turned on Friday Night Lights or Boys Will Fall by Kenny Chesney. I love that song. It's very nostalgic. But he picked out, it's like a pick 6, both 2 highlights from my senior year. It was a pick 6 against Douglas, and then a big hit against Westminster where I sort of sent the guy to the. Yeah, he didn't play the rest of the game, that's all I'll say. But it was just fun to see everyone. Obviously, Power Eccles and Amari, those highlights are just insane to see. But it's fun to see everyone's high school highlights, and good reminder. My mom actually always sort of tells me and sends me highlights of myself. It's a good reminder, everyone that here deserves to be here. And sometimes you can get blinded by the big stage, or you can forget how good of a player you are. And so he sort of reminded all of us, why we're here. It was really cool.
Have you ever gone back and looked at him, since leaving high school?
Yeah, occasionally I'll go back and watch some highlights from high school or freshman. It's good to just see yourself play well and envision it going forward.
Elijah Huzzy said you guys had some fun watching him play quarterback.
Yes.
How was that?
Yeah.
Him at quarterback.
Yeah, it was interesting. I know Huzzy, he's he can do everything, right? So him playing quarterback's not very surprising. He's obviously a returner right now and a great cornerback, but he's been really good at all the positions. You could probably throw in a receiver and he'd be good. So it's cool.
Well, how nice was it to get an interception the other week, and what do you remember about that play and how everything played out?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's always awesome when you can help contribute in any way. So the past couple of weeks, play more has been great. But specifically that interception, it was a sort of crazy play. I just remember running sort of even with the guy, ball goes up, sort of hand fighting. Somehow, in those moments, you really don't think. Your body just takes over, and so the ball is just kind of fumbling around. And fortunately, I get my hand underneath it and catch it. So right when I had the ball in my hand, I was like, "Hey, I'm pretty sure I caught it." So just waiting on the ref to make a call, and then I think they reviewed it real quick, but I was pretty confident. It sort of reminded me of the Duke interception where I caught it, and everyone on the sideline was like, "Did you catch it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I caught it." But they still got to review it. So it was good to get another interception. Obviously.
Yeah, and one thing that Mac talks a lot about is wanting the defense to create more turnovers. Recently, you guys have, on top of the sacks, you guys have been doing that. I guess when in practice room meetings, how much is Jeff Collins, hammering that home of not only getting those extra takeaways, but just the approach in doing so, and really making those plays happen. Just what are those dialogues from him about?
Yeah, he emphasizes turnovers like no other coach I've been around. Since fall camp started, every turnover you get in practice, the next day he gives out candy bars. And in games, he gets a whole cookie cake for you. So it's serious business. Today he said every turnover he would do 10 push-ups. So I think he hit about 50 push-ups today in practice. So that's interesting. But he really emphasizes it. I think you can see throughout some of those losses, we really just didn't create turnovers. And then obviously when you create pressure on the quarterback, you can see interceptions. One thing he's harping on this week is trying to get more fumbles and poking the ball out more. And so that's just an area that we always look to improve every day in practice. And I think it'll show up this Saturday.
So it's candy bars in practice and cakes in the
Exactly.
What's your go-to candy bar?
I usually save them. I'm not trying to eat a bunch in season right now, but if I had to pick, probably a Kit Kat. He doesn't let you pick that. He'll just toss them out.
So if he throws you a match,
But they're king size, so no matter what, it's a lot. Yeah.
What's it like watching you do the push-ups and does he break down in real time, or does he save them up and then do them all?
That was new today, and I told him are you gonna do it in the meetings or right when he said so he did it right when it happened in practice. He had a turnover. He just over there on the sideline hitting 10 push-ups. You could tell he was gassed by the end of practice, so it's funny.
We saw him doing some in the spring.
Oh, really?
Ritzy or somebody hit the quarterback, and that's what I was doing down there.
Yeah.
From your vantage point on the back end, is all these sacks have piled up for you guys. 17 in the last 2 games. You're 4th in the country with 32. What has been the most impressive aspect of how the front four has been able to just turn this up and get after these quarterbacks? What has stood out to you the most?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it is just it's not crazy exotic blitzes where we're bringing 5 set. A lot of it's just 4-man rush, and they're getting after the quarterback. And when we get to 3rd and longs, that's when they can really go hunt. And it's really when the quarterback can't get to his first and second read, by the time he has to tuck the ball and worry about scrambling rather than looking downfield, it makes it a lot harder on the quarterback. I think especially with this week with their slow match, got a unique offense. I think our D-line will have another great game, and it just disrupts the quarterback, and he can't get, even if receivers, if they find a spot in the zone that's open, he just doesn't have time to see everything. So it helps us a lot knowing that the quarterback's gonna be flushed back there. And when you go even 1st and 2nd down, when you get negative yardage plays and it's 2nd and long or 3rd and long, it ruins drives for offenses. That's the biggest thing.
Are you on board with Bo Sapkins?
Oh yeah, I love it. I freaking love it. I saw the Bo Flex on this advertisement of him.
We've been talking about that one.
Actually, we're on the same business class, and I showed it to our whole class. Everyone started dying laughing. it was hilarious.
I was gonna say, I didn't know if you like Bo Flex or Sackinson better.
If I had to choose, I would say Bo Sackinson.
Okay.
But I think his move, like when he does that, that's the Bo Flex.
Absolutely.
So I told him this week, like make it when he does get a sack, just make it really obvious and just just hit it. I think it's unique now, even though it's just a simple flex. It made it unique.
Well, he said after the FSU game, he needed a new celebration, and we're like, no, you don't.
Now he does it. Yeah.
You know, like we've got to get it out for you at this point. Sorry, Charlie, go for it. Didn't mean to cut you.
We were talking about the Wake Forest offense earlier. It is kind of unique. You don't see it anywhere else. But how difficult is it to prepare for it?
Yeah.
To practice for it when you don't see it and everything.
Yeah, obviously you can't replicate it perfectly in practice, but I mean, watching film and just knowing your responsibility. If you're primary in the pass, you gotta defend the pass. If you're primary in the run, you have to run. And so they'll hold the RPO for a long time, but I think that's where we have especially the interior D line. If they can mess up the slow mesh to where if the quarterback wants to pull it, he's already sacked. It makes it a lot easier for us. So I think our D line is gonna help a lot with that and just doing your job. At the end of the day, you gotta do your job, and can't get caught staring at the wrong thing.
Discipline is always important, but is it even a notch more important when you're dealing with the slow mesh because of what the quarterback's eyes are?
For sure.
For when you're in
Yes.
safety?
Yes, as a safety, a lot of what you do when you're not primary in the run or the pass, it's just you're sort of a robber player. You're trying to help. So just knowing Coach Warren's doing a good job establishing, all right, in these calls, this is what we're doing, these calls is not. And so you can't just get caught staring at the quarterback. You got to find routes, and then even when the ball's pulled late, you got to make plays. So.
Show me last one.
Yeah, just going back to Mark Campbell, you talked about the specific moment, but I understand he's been, kind of taking over the defense a little bit, wearing that in-game earpiece for a while now. How have you seen just his confidence and leadership evolve over the course of the season?
Yeah, I remember when he got here last spring as a early enrollee. You could tell he was just a really good player, really mature player from the get-go. And then this year, sort of stepping into that, taking over, it was said in power, now it's power in him, taking over a big role, moving to the mic, sort of the leader of, he can talk to the D-line, he can talk to the safeties, the star, so he's sort of in the middle of the defense, so having him with that earpiece and getting everybody, lined right, it's been very valuable. He's done a great job, he plays with confidence, he plays really fast, and he's just fun to be around, so he's a great guy.
Is that something that Power, like, was that a tough thing for Power to give up? Is sort of like the quarterback of the defense?
I really think it's less that and more the Mike and the Will are different responsibilities.
Yeah.
I think the Will needs to be, they're more on the edge. They need to have a little more cover skills. And they were going back and forth with the earpiece the whole fall camp. It's just the nature of the mic and where he's aligned. It fits better with getting everyone aligned. So they're both great leaders. Power came in. Those guys are still the vocal leaders of the defense, set the tone. Amari is a great young leader as well, and he's done a great job in his role.
Just curious.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, Will.
Also,